Well, thank you very much for your time, man. I really appreciate you're here.
Yeah, my pleasure. I just found out, like, I thought I was doing today, right? Like 6 interviews today. And then my manager is flying to Europe right now. And so then I opened emails and they're like, and for tomorrow we have, and then for Wednesday, I'm like, what? No, it's like 50. I'll never be able to leave the house. I haven't even eaten today. So this is like, so it's good. So far, everybody's been cool. And I appreciate that you guys are interested in us coming down there, and it's going to be a blast. So it's going to be
Yeah.
really fun. I can
Well,
try out my I can try out my shitty Spanish. I'm like yo quiero un abrigo verde. It's like, yeah, you want a green coat? Yeah.
great, great. It's better than my English. Well,
No.
Paige, just to start in a right way, could you please introduce yourself to our audience, but the way you would like to be introduced?
Uh, hey, this is the dickhead from Helmet, Paige Hamilton. It's like, no. I know. There's a guy in Florida. We were in Florida, in Gainesville, Florida, and this guy was sitting on his car drinking beer with his girl, his wife, or whoever she was, and I had eaten and come back from dinner. I was walking in the back, and he goes, "Are you the head singer of Helmet?" And I was like, "I am, sir." And it's like, so you can just call me like Helmet head singer Paige Hamilton. How about that? You the
Great.
head singer? Can you sign my tooth?
Great.
Yeah,
I guess everywhere in the world there's this kind of guys on the streets.
yeah. Yeah. It was pretty hilarious. It's Florida too. Florida is another country, man. It's crazy now.
Okay.
So,
Well, Helmet, over 30 years of history, and for the first time you're in Argentina. Uh, what do you expect of this tour
well, first time in Argentina.
in Argentina? Yeah.
We've played Santiago and Mexico City, and obviously we played Sao Paulo and Brasilia, and Florianopolis, these places. But I don't know. I mean, like we're just gonna do our thing. We had it kind of an on again, off again thing with Santiago in Chile.
Hmm.
We were supposed to play and it fell through, and then we were supposed to play again, and it got weird, with the promoters. And so when we finally played, we played this festival,
Hmm.
um, and it was with my old pal Mike Patton, had Phantomas. Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth was playing, and I'm friends with Christopher from Blind Melon. So it was great to see everybody. But we didn't know that they were going to go so crazy. It was like we got on stage, and Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth said, "Man, it sucked going on after you guys because Helmet's heavy and riff and whatever, and Thurston's thing is more kind of guitar, noisy guitar stuff,
Hmm.
songs, really great music, but it's not as kind of heavy." And so they in Santiago, they were like, I felt like I was at a soccer game. It was just like they're like way away away away, just like
Yeah.
chanting and going crazy in a big pit. Some guy got up on stage, somehow made it through security, and they had like 5 guys to get him off. So I expect Argentina to be just as enthusiastic.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the same thing.
Just don't hurt anyone.
Well, you said we did our thing or our stuff or something like that. What is exactly what do you do? Because when people ask me, what the hell does a helmet do? I don't know what to say. Music.
Yeah, thank you. That's what it is. This is a topic of conversation, and then I just had a composition student in London that I work with. We talked about that, and talked about sort of genre versus sort of someone's aesthetic. Are you in a band for fashion reasons, or are you in a band because you love music? I happen to love hard rock music. I happen to love jazz. I happen to love classical music. I happen to love bossa nova, and you know, country music and all these things. But so somehow all these things get smashed into, you know, my interpretation of what rock guitar music is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what you call us, you know, like we were metal. Everybody's like, they're a metal band. It's like, people like, that's not metal. That's industrial. Oh, we're not industrial. Well, that's post-hardcore. Oh, that's hardcore. I'm like, it's not, I don't worry about what people want to call it. It's Helmet, you know, and we stand, you know, as the guy, the last guy just talked, he's like, Helmet still just sounds like Helmet. It just doesn't sound like anything else. And I'm like, that's how bands should be. Yeah. I mean, like, do music that you love, and some people are going to like it. Some people are not. It's just the nature of the beast. You know what I mean? So it's like, I always said, you know, Michael Jackson would have sold, you know, 100 billion records if everybody loved what he did, but he only sold, you know, 200 million. So, you know,
Okay.
so,
Well,
yeah.
and I guess this kind of thinking is on the way you listen to music too, because you're you're a David Bowie fan, yeah,
Oh yeah.
AC/DC,
Yeah.
and this Jasmine John Stowell.
John Stoll. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're they're so different between them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, you know, when I wake up in the morning, this is probably the first thing I'm going to do is probably this, you know, I'm going to pick up the guitar and I'm going to go like, you know, play, you know, whatever. It's like, you know, play some, you know, play chords, play melodies, whatever. And then in the evening when I pick this up, it's gonna, you know, I'll probably be, you know, and that to me is fun, is equally fun, you know. So it's, I don't, that one thing influences the other. So if I play Helmet songs, there's probably elements of you know, jazz in there, from some weird chords, from the feel, the swing. You know, to me, it's all about feeling and how it
mhm.
feels. And Helmet is a groove band. You know, it's always T.M. Stevens, the great great bassist who played with the Pretenders, and you know, I think he played with Miles and James Brown and all these other people. Really amazing musician. He played with Steve Vai. He said Helmet's like a big bowl of ice cream.
Mhm.
It's sweet and delicious, and then you dig in and there's spinach inside. So it's like, oh, it's good for you. There's music in there. So to me, like that, you know, I love AC/DC. I also love John Coltrane, you know, but
Uh-huh.
there's a common thread, is this heart, feel, soul, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's I think that's what's always interested me about music, is the way it communicates, you know, across languages, across cultural barriers. And I love that. I just love that. You know, I mean, I know the first time we played in Japan and I was talking and I was just getting blank stares. And I was like, oh my God, they don't speak English, dumbass. You know, so, but then they would go crazy. Everybody's like, oh, the Japanese are really reserved. Well, then we would play and it was like mayhem. Like, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
they're not reserved at all. The music is bringing this thing out in them that everyday life, that normal conversation. Well, music has that power, you know. And it's,
Okay, great.
yeah,
It's strange people in Japan, talking about the audience.
it's cool. Yeah, it's really cool. They're amazing. They're that it's the most, as far as playing venue, since we have a crew that we use in the US and a crew that we use in Europe. So we're not a big enough band where I can pay people to fly to South America with us or fly to Australia. So we'll use local. And in Japan, the local people they had their shit so together. Everything was just like clockwork. The gear was impeccable. Technically, the sound was impeccable. And they're just, it's been phenomenal. You know, we've been there probably about, I don't know, 7 or 8 times, and every time it's just a great experience. I love going there. I mean, I love traveling everywhere. you know. Whereas like in South America, we played in Florianopolis, in Brazil, and there were like 150,000 people on the beach. I mean, it was like, my hometown is 30,000 people, so it was like 5 times that. But they had a crappy like lighting thing, you know, like 2 cans with red and green, and the gear was, but the energy was incredible. It was just like the people were just there for the music. So there's, it was it's amazing. I'm really excited, obviously, to play in Argentina. So I don't know what to expect. I think we're gonna have some good food, and we're gonna, so my Spanish is terrible. I'm studying it on an app, but hopefully I'll pick up a few words while I'm there. I want to get fluent in Spanish. It's a useful language in Los Angeles, and I'm ashamed that I'm just learning it now. So
okay. Well, going back in time, Strap It On in 1990, I guess.
Yeah.
And Seeing Eye Dog, 2010. I heard somewhere they're your favorite album. Is it true?
That Strap It On is my favorite album.
And Seeing Eye Dog, both.
Well, Dead to the World Now. So, I mean, I love playing those songs. Yeah, it's really interesting because some songs, they're on the album, I love them, like the song Seeing Eye Dog, but live, it's hard to play and sing for me. So, and it requires, if I'm 15 shows into a tour, my voice will be in shape for the heavy stuff. But if I just start a tour, that really shreds your vocal cords. So I love that song, Seeing Eye Dog, or I love like Insatiable from Aftertaste, or I'm going to try the song. I mean, Dead to the World, I love playing. So we kind of mix the songs up. So this Latin American tour is going to be songs from all periods, from like I don't know if we're playing anything from 89, but from 1990, maybe we'll play something from 89, we'll see. But 1990 to 2000, whatever the last album came out, 2016, right?
16.
So a long time, long time
16.
ago. Working on a new one now, so.
That was the next question, because Dead to the World is almost 4 years ago. Are you planning?
I know.
Are you planning a new one?
Yes. Yeah. I'm writing. I was talking to people. I'm writing this piece that's this. Completely different. It's a brass and woodwind piece. So I'm kind of simultaneously working on that, and then I'll burn out after 4 hours, and then I'll pick up the guitar and work on a Helmet song, and then I'll burn out after 4 hours, and I'll go back to that. So it's kind of, they keep each other fresh. So yes, it's partially my fault, but it's also, I have to blame the music business. And somebody was saying, well, why have you never played in Argentina before? I go, it's not my choice. We're not it's money. Somebody says, if they can make money off Helmet in Argentina, they'll book us. But we're not the Foo Fighters. We're not going to sell 10,000 tickets. So this is the first opportunity we've ever had to play there. So I'm really happy, and I'm happy to meet the promoters and say thank you very much. So I would play there every 2 years. It's like I love touring, man. I love touring. I love playing everywhere. So
going back, we were talking about David Bowie. Did you work with him playing guitar?
Yeah, I played lead guitar on the Hours tour.
How is it? How was it to work with him?
Oh, incredible. He is, I mean, he was a hero before, and I met him 2 years before I played with him. And he was really nice, and told me he was a Helmet fan, and I laughed. He's like, I love Helmet. And I was like, yeah, right. But he was really funny, really smart, and just a lovely, it's kind of like your favorite uncle, but he just happens to be a genius. You know what I mean? Like, he's just was lovely human being, and learning, I had to learn 30 songs in 2 weeks, and then go play Wembley Stadium. You know, like in my hometown was growing up was 30,000 people, and Wembley Stadium holds, I don't even fucking know, 100,000 people or something. And then it was broadcast to the whole world. 1 billion people saw us. So it was pressure for me. I had to do a lot of work in a short period of time, but it was an amazing experience. I love him. I cried when he passed away. I was very sad by that, you
Very
know.
sad.
So, but he had a fucking good life, man. He did a lot. He did a lot for music. You know, he's really an amazing human being. You know.
Great, great. And beside, you have or in one moment, I don't know if right now is it happening. You had a jazz band.
Yeah, I'm over the holidays, Christmas. I'm going to go back east and do. I'm going to do a solo gig in Connecticut, just me and a guitar, and then I'm going to do a couple of little jazz gigs. I have my dearest friend out there. He's a metal shredder from a band called Liege Lord from the '80s, but I've forced him to play jazz with me. So we're going to play some jazz songs. We have done the group thing, like it started with just the two of us, two guitars, and then we added a drummer, and then we added a bass player, and then a keyboard player, but they kind of fell apart. So we still have a drummer who lives in LA, who we love working with, and we also got to play with a jazz drummer from New York called Joe Corsello, who is a legend. He played with Sonny Rollins and Tony Bennett, and he's an amazing drummer. He's amazing. I mean, he's probably 80 years old, and he's just an amazing drummer. So I love playing jazz. I don't call myself a jazz player. That's why we call it jazz wannabes. So we try. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're you have a very very strange and I think not so common mixture of music in your head.
Yeah.
Even when you play live, because you play with emo bands, punk, heavy metal, I don't know, Melvins, Black Sabbath.
Yeah. We've played with all those bands. We've played with Kiss, you know, on festivals with Kiss and with Marilyn Manson and with Motley Crue and with you know, Iron Maiden and with like Thursday on the Warped Tour, or like, you know, these different like a lot of different stuff, like No Effects, you know, different just on the same festivals. As far as touring, we toured with Marilyn Manson, we toured with Korn, we toured with Nine Inch Nails, we toured with the Beastie Boys. You know, we toured with Guns N' Roses, so it's a kind of a wide variety of music, and that, you know, it keeps it fun for us, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, of course. The best thing you remember of these tours?
Oh man, topless beaches in Sydney, Australia. I don't know.
Is it true?
Yes, in January. In January in Sydney is freezing ass cold in New York, and you're all pale and pasty with your down coat or whatever, and you get to Australia and there's girls running around with no tops on. That's pretty awesome. There's just so many amazing memories. I mean, we've had so much fun over the years. I think one of the fringe benefits that I never anticipated was that we get to travel and see a lot of cool places. You know, I mean, playing in, you know, being in Poland, you know, and having like one person through up a bra and another person threw up some poopy underpants. You know, you're like, oh, I'll take the bra. Or, you know, playing in Santiago, as I said, and having the soccer chants, or playing in Paris and you know, having to do like 10 encore, or Munich. We played in Munich, and the gear was already coming off stage and they wouldn't leave, so we had to come back out and play more songs. I had to crew set that, and wow, you know, like stuff like that, where people are so excited to hear you play, and that you really appreciate that, because I'll play all night, you know, like if people want to hear it, you know. It's like, I'm not going to do obligatory, okay, now we're going to do the encore, you know. And people, if people are standing there and they're bored and they don't want it, I'm like, fuck it, I'm not going to play. You better want us to come out, you know. So
That must be something incredible, no? You get to a place that maybe you didn't even know the place existed, and people knows you and knows your songs and enjoy your music. That must be something incredible.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised on this last tour. We did 2 festival dates. We were touring with a band called Clutch, but then we played in Kentucky at the Louder Than Life Festival, and we played in Sacramento at the Aftershock Festival. And I always think, festival people are not going to get us because they want to hear the bands that they like, and we're these weird, we don't have cool hair or cool costumes or cool lighting show or whatever. And then they just see them go crazy and love the music. That was really exciting, really great. Both shows were amazing. The festivals like Kentucky and Sacramento. So that was really nice. Really, I love hearing that because we've played before. Sometimes on the Marilyn Manson tour in '97, like some of the people were just like, what the fuck are these guys? Like, they don't wear makeup, they don't have cool black leather pants, they just look stupid. And I'm
Well,
like, sorry, man. Like, sorry, we don't fit your mold of what you want to be. So a lot of people like need to identify. They need to identify with their band from a fashion sense, not even the music. It has nothing to do with the music. You know what I mean? And we're always about the music, period.
you
So
know, every time I find something, a new strange situation with you, because uh, beside all the things we were talking in this interview, I remember now you worked with Nine Inch Nails and Linkin Park. Uh, that was something I didn't expect.
yeah,
How was it? Did you like it?
yeah, oh yeah, both of them. I mean, I've always said Helmet will play with any band, and I'll work with people if they're good people, and they're not assholes, and I'm interested. I mean, I do a lot of different kinds of music. Maybe I could bring something to their project, or maybe not. You know what I mean? And it's interesting for me to see how other people work as well. I like being in the studio with people. Lincoln Park was very different than that. And Mike Shinoda said, we work in a completely different way than you. He said, we put all the music together and in the studio, and then we learn it for live. And I said, we learn the music live and then go in the studio and record it. So 2 completely different ways of working. Nine Inch Nails, Trent has an incredible grasp of I think every technological thing you can imagine, but he uses it in a very musical way. You know,
Mhm.
as a Bowie and I had this brief conversation about Trent, that he has a very compositional mind. He has a really good so he can think in terms of these sonic elements that I don't use, like electronic stuff or whatever. I mean, I use like samples when I'm writing, but Helmet's still about kind of guitar music. Like
Uh-huh.
guitar bass drums,
Mhm.
and and a guy singing. So
Great, great. Well, this is your moment. You got to sell the show. Please tell the people here in Argentina why should they go to see Helmet live.
why wouldn't you go see Helmet live? Why, like, that we're the best band in the world. I mean, we're not the most mainstream accessible, but we're like the band. I will blow you off, blow you away. That the band is great. I mean, like, it's not just me, it's my band. They're really good musicians and they play with fire, and it's not gonna, we don't sound like, you know, we don't sound like a metal band or an industrial band, or what, we sound like Helmet. So it's great. I mean, maybe some people won't like it, but they're probably stupid. So
I really love
if you don't like
it.
if you don't like Helmet, you're stupid. Yeah, duh.
Well, just the last thing. Greeting, whatever you want to say to Headbangers Latinoamerica readers, whatever you want to say. Hello,
So to
goodbye.
headbangers,
Headbangers,
yeah,
yeah.
keep banging your heads, man. Listen to all heavy music. Listen to all music and be open-minded. It's like I don't have cool hair, obviously, but I have a cool band. So yeah, I would rather be perceived, have people perceive us as a bunch of truck drivers from Long Island than like a precious indie band from the East Village. You know what I mean? That's what I love about heavy music. People want to fucking rock out, and they want to hear something, you know. And that's what's so, you know, I love playing on these metal things. We've played with Slayer, as I said, Motley Crue, and Kiss, and Sabbath, and System of a Down, and Korn, and whatever. We play with all these bands, and it's like people that are into heavy music. There's a thing, study I was reading in England about that kids that listen to heavy music tend to be the smarter kids. Like there's a rebellion in with heavy music. So kids that are into heavy music tend to be the smarter kids. And I believe that, you know what I mean? There's a subversiveness to this heavy music, and it's maybe pisses your parents off or whatever, and that's okay.
Thank you very much, man. I leave you alone.
Ruben, thank you.
Go on with your life, and a good trip when you started the tour.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, brother.